Hello everyone and welcome to Game 3 in a series here on Daybreak. TSL's Revival versus ByunPrime, and this is looking to be a very interesting matchup. Revival spawning as the pink Zerg over here at the 7 o'clock position. Meanwhile, ByunPrime spawning as the red Terran. So Terran versus Zerg. And after a little bit of a premature GG by Revival, ByunPrime has been able to even up the series. Taking a look at the map on Cloud Kingdom, and taking a look at the overall strategy, Revival perhaps knew that it would be very difficult to establish up his third base. And with that third base so difficult to establish, and ByunPrime already taking up his third base, things would just start to snowball and go downhill from there. So TSL Revival choosing Daybreak as the third and final map in this best of 3 series to see if he can perhaps put the final nail in the coffin and finish up what he started in Game 1. Now, we'll see if Revival does go for a fast expansion here, of perhaps a 15 hatchery once more. He did do that in Game 2. Now, Daybreak is a little bit easier for Zerg players because they have 2 options for a third base, and the natural choice is this base off over here. It does expand a little bit away from your opponent, and it's not too far. One Overlord position here can keep track of multiple entrances. An Overlord here and an Overlord here keeps track of both of your main choke points, and you can, as long as you're connecting your bases with creep, do a lot of transfer of units, and we'll see how this will all be followed up. Meanwhile, ByunPrime, so far he is not getting up a gas, so it looks as though he is going for an expansion play once more, trying to macro up, and if he's able to macro up and get a strong economy, he should be able to keep up with Zerg. Zerg players, however, adopting that real Stefano style as of late, getting in a lot of drones early on, playing defensive, and then being able to max out somewhere around 14 to 16 minutes sometimes in the game, and then just start to butt up heads. So we'll see if that will be the continual play. A lot of Terran players want to apply at least some pressure. If a Zerg player does have a license to drone, they can really just become unstoppable later on. Spawning pool is coming into play now. Overlord being added. We should see 2 Zerglings alongside 2 Queens being trained up in just a moment. This hatchery will be completed in just a second as well, and the timing on this should allow for Revival to just dump in a lot of his resources in just a second. There you go, Revival keeping that drone around, wanting to start mining already, and now getting up 2 queens without any Zerglings to chase away this SCV as of yet. The SCV just doing a little bit of juking, wandering around, a pair of Zerglings being added, and so far this game is working as I expected. There is going to be a bunker established off here, making sure that if Zerglings try to come in from this back entrance or from the front entrance, they will still be attacked. Now it will really also be down to ByunPrime to make sure he doesn't allow units to simply just walk into his base. In some of the other games, Zergling run-bys and Infestor burrowed run-bys were able to deal a lot of damage, and that was before Byung really set up a wall of supply depots and a wall to prevent any of those units from getting inside his base. You can see that the Zerg has a 10 supply advantage now, as we are now transitioning perhaps into reactor Hellion play. And one thing to quickly note though, this is all off of 1 gas, unlike the previous game where we saw 2 gas coming in from our Terran friend. ByunPrime now about a third of the way completed with his 3rd command center, so it looks like this is going to turn into a very heavy macro game. ByunPrime sacrificing a bit of his army early on, and he is now down by about 14 supply. Zerglings could be able to run in and get in a lot of damage here. If you take a look at 35 drones, so both sides just really macroing heavily. 35 drones compared to 24 SCVs. There are 3 queens in play, so those queens will be on the defensive, as Revival should be connecting these bases with creep tumors. 1 creep tumor is already down. Revival now laying down another creep tumor, could spawn another one in just a second, and Revival looking to set up a creep highway across the map, getting 2 creep tumors right next to each other in order to connect these bases. Now, one odd thing to note so far, Revival has not connected his main base with his natural expansion. We are going into a tech lab here. We are going into Hellions, and we are at double or now triple gas for ByunPrime. So ByunPrime could transition now into some Starport play if he chose to, but no, it looks like he's going to be going into Marine Tank instead. Orbital Command now training triple SCVs off of 3 of these orbital commands, definitely going to help. And Revival looking to perhaps knock on the front door with Roaches. Roaches are going to be a little bit of an issue, but the timing should allow Byung, if he does go for Tech Labs on his factory, to get up some siege tanks. Marines are going to be trained off of this one barracks with the reactor. We are going into level 1 weapons and armor upgrades, soon to be 3-3 Marines, I'm sure, as ByunPrime opening up with a very, very heavy infantry build. Hellions now coming around the far side, but these Roaches are going to cause a bit of a problem. 12 Roaches up against 1 bunker, no Marauders, and now just training up more and more Marines. I really question this play by Byung, not getting any Marauders early on, especially on the 1 barracks with a tech lab. That would definitely help to slow down these units here, as SCVs now trying to come over to repair. They are going to be able to repair and keep this alive. Not quite sure why Revival is just going after the bunker when he should be going after the SCVs. SCVs are getting taken down. Now the bunker taking a lot of damage once more. It's a battle between SCVs trying to fall. The bunker looks like it's down to 100 hit points. No, now back up once more. And a really odd push by Revival. Revival, is he dealing enough damage here? I don't believe so, as the Roaches are going to perhaps regroup. Hellions now trying to come back over. Drones are being added as we are taking now to tier 2. I don't see Burrow as an upgrade, and if Burrow was upgraded, that would be a very, very different story, but we are not at tier 2, so the Roaches instead going to open up the bases a little bit more, get some destructible rocks down, and perhaps allow these units to make their way across the map much, much faster. Revival most likely taking a little bit of a hit in terms of his drone count. He did take down 8 workers though, but that is not much, especially when Byung has this additional orbital command inside his base. He should be able to triple train SCVs throughout this game in order to take a nice economic lead. Hellions now looking to back off, hold the Zelnaga Tower once more. Roaches still wandering around between these bases. A 3rd base has been established by Revival, so Revival will not be too far behind as long as he can get a queen there to tend to it and really pump up his unit production. Both sides floating at around 90-ish supply. Zerg with a slight advantage. Meanwhile, we are going into 62 drones already. Revival can get into 90 drones and then just pump out sheer units. ByunPrime looking to perhaps get in even more barracks. It looks as though no combat shield as of yet. A bit of a curious upgrade. He has not gotten combat shield in any of the games that I've seen so far, and now he is also going into very, very heavy supply depot production. He wants to make sure that his next attack is very effective, as he's also adding on a reactor here. A lot of barracks being added on as well. We'll see if he does start that combat shield upgrade. He is going into level 2 weapons and armor upgrades, getting up a lot of reactors. And ByunPrime just going to rely on the Terran macro in order to perhaps take a lead here. Siege tanks are in position to prevent any Roaches from dealing too much damage at the 3rd base. And Revival in a little bit of trouble, as he is even on bases. Even though he has a 24 supply advantage, he has a large supply of Roaches. Not that cost effective or food effective in terms of their size. Early in the game they are effective, but later on their power does tend to fall off. Hellions falling to Zerglings here, and now Revival pretty much has good control all across the map, and now decides to take up his 4th base on the top left hand side. Missile turrets being established, also some supply depots being established down over here, making sure that Zerglings aren't able to run in. I don't see any additional command centers being built by Byung, as he is only still running on 3 command centers at this stage in the game. Also, no Metavacs or Vikings in play, otherwise he should try to take down Revival's 1 overseer here. Siege tanks, Marines, and now also dropping in some mules to do some mining. We'll see what's going to be happening here in just a moment, as we have a large group of Zerglings and Roaches swarming and lining up into position to perhaps hit this third base here. No sensor tower at all. Zerglings now perhaps going to take down these destructible rocks, and if they do so, this front door will be completely wide open. The Marines see a little bit of Zerglings, and now some siege tanks were able to shoot from the high ground and destroy some of them there. So a little bit of a cautionary move. Byung does know that those rocks have been taken out, and now the infestors, where are they going to go? Burrow is now being researched. We are going into 3-3 weapons upgrade, so that will be finished sometime around the 17 to 18 minute mark. Taking a look at the Roaches are only going to be, 2-1, and that is going to be some bad news. But a fungal growth catching medevacs, and those fungal growth and those medevacs need to get away. Will they be able to get away in time? No, they are not even trying to move, and they get taken down by infested Terran. There they go. More medevacs once again being added to the army. We are now sitting at 192 compared to 175. Zerg also sitting on a very nice bank of minerals and gas. He will be able to replenish that. Also sitting on 8 larvae, so it looks like Revival has the Zerg engine up and running, and it is waiting for him to attack. ByunPrime, though, sitting on 3 bases, has siege tanks with level 1 weapons upgrades, so those Zerglings will get melted rather quickly. Marines going to perhaps take down the rest of these Zerglings here and then start to do a bit of a slow push out. We are going into a Spire, but I think that is more for Broodlords than for Mutalisk, as Mutalisk would not be that effective. The Roaches and the Zerglings trying to push off over here, quickly find a command center. It gets canceled, but not after a lot of units were taken down here. Resources lost on both sides, still rather low, 1700 by the Terran player. As we now see an engagement here, the Marines fungal growth hitting up a lot of those siege tanks and the Marines, both sides attacking back and forth. The infestors all just getting destroyed here. Will they be able to trade effectively against those Marines are the question, as the Roaches are backing off, and Byung taking a huge victory there, hardly losing anything, as the medevacs are going to begin to heal. The Marines now going to be 3-3 upgrades in about another 60 seconds or so. We are going to see some cleaning of creep tumors, as now ByunPrime looking to do a monstrous counterattack with 6 siege tanks and about 3 dozen Marines. These Marines looking to be very powerful as they come across the map. Actually, it looks more like 4 dozen Marines, as the siege tanks are now pushing across the map here. They're going to hold this Xel'Naga tower, and the siege tanks next to a Xel'Naga tower, always a very dangerous combination. Marines battling up, trying to run away from all of these Roaches and Zerglings. There's one burrowed Zergling off over here. And now Byung perhaps overextending with his army. There are still siege tanks at the Xel'Naga tower, and they're going to perhaps try to hit the top left. Infestors and Zerglings and Roaches perhaps going to try to come up the front door. There are 2 starports there, but it looks as though, no, the Zerglings want to make sure that they catch this and do not allow Byung to take down a couple of these bases. There are a couple of burrowed banelings here. Those banelings are going to get detonated. The siege tanks are on the low ground. Marines are already well split here to make sure that if a banelings do attack or Mutalisks do attack, he has the proper counter. Drones are all hiding in the backfield. Marines going to finish up a couple of the infestors. Do the Marines know about the drones in the back? That is the key question, as now we see an attack on the front. Ultralisk chomping away at all of these siege tanks, and it looks as though the attack force will get cleaned up. Scanner sweep, however, taking down a lot of the drones and a lot of the workers. There's only 1 medevac. A second medevac needs to come over. Is it going to be able to pick up any of the units? But they have to be careful of the infestor. The 1 medevac, now 2 medevacs, going to drop over here at the third base, but there are spore crawlers, and the spore crawler going to perhaps shoot down that medevac instead. It is now 3 bases to 3 bases. A nice counter by Revival, but he still ended up losing one of his own bases in this exchange, and now it is 3 base to 3 base Terran. Never a good position. More starports being added, more barracks being added. Byung now with a very large bank going into the Terran building armor, +2 armor, and it looks like he's going to be establishing a planetary fortress off in the center expansion location here. There are a lot of creep tumors here as well, making it very difficult for this expansion to be established. We'll see what's going to happen next. We need to perhaps see some missile turrets, but with Broodlords, those missile turrets won't be doing much of anything either. Revival losing his 4th base before it even gets back up. No cancellation there. A loss of 350 resources total when you include in that drone, and now all the medevac can do is just simply hide there and wait for that hatchery to be re-established. Marines now looking to clean up more and more creep tumors. Zerglings gonna find all of these Marines, take them down. 3-3 Zerglings against 3-3 Marines. Both of these with maxed out armies, or maxed upgrade and ground armies, and we'll see what's going to be happening next. Those Ultralisks with 6 armor going to be able to deal so much damage, and that's going to be a serious problem. The siege tanks do have level 2 and soon to have level 3 weapons upgrade. And with level 3 weapons upgrade on the siege tanks, that might be enough to whittle away these Ultralisks before they really get within melee range. A problem, though, is 32 plus 7, 39 Banelings ready to go. The Banelings do have movement speed upgrade and also are fully upgraded as well. You see another drop off over here. The Banelings unable to find their target, and more drones once again getting taken out. 31 worker kills. Byung looking very, very strong. Harvester count now 70 to 70. ByunPrime sitting happily at 70 workers now, as he is still maxed out on supply. Revival maxed out on supply. Meanwhile, Byung sitting at 189, and here comes a major attack at this planetary fortress. SCVs unable to repair in time. Fungal growth hitting off a lot of the units, and the Ultralisk just barreling in, taking down multiple units. Infestor is able to still survive, and multiple medevacs getting fungal growth. Ultralisk still charging up the main door here, and with so many barracks and so many starports, the Ultralisk choose to retreat after exchanging of bases. Zerglings now attempting to take down a couple more Marines here. Those will fall, as Revival is looking very, very strong, but in comes Ultralisk once more to finish off all of these Marines and Marauders, and Revival able to hang on to this center expansion location. So 158 compared to 157. Harvester count 62 to 57. Production still showing Marauders, Marines, and siege tanks coming in from Terran. Banelings and Infestors coming in over for the Zerg. There's still plenty of larva, and I think we're just waiting on a Revival to figure out what units he wants to train. He could easily transition into Corruptors now with Broodlords. That Greater Spire is already up here, no level 1 weapons upgrade, but with those Broodlings at 3-3 upgrades, the damage is already high enough. Zerglings are going to spot this medevac simply flying by. We should be getting some Zerglings in position to just take down this medevac here in just a moment. A large group of units from Byung now trying to figure out where they can go, where they can establish themselves as a command center, going to be landing and upgrading to a planetary fortress once more. Zerglings and Marauders finishing off more units, looking to take down this hatchery. The hatchery taking a lot of damage already, but it's not going to be enough, as the Zerglings once again swarm over 3-3 upgraded Zerglings, causing a bit of problems. Planetary fortress now being upgraded here. Mass mules being called down. 6 mules, 8 mules. More than enough mules per the mineral patches here. And Byung is going to try to strip mine this location and not invest any SCVs. We now see 6 corruptors being added. Is it going to be enough to really break down and break the siege position of Terran is the question. I don't see that many Vikings coming in from Terran. No Vikings at all. And with that, if Revival has a good combination of Infestors and Broodlords, there's not much the Marines can really do. Armor upgrades now coming in. Corruptors are being trained. Zerglings on the field, and at some point Revival needs to free up some of his supply. He does see one, or I believe Byung does spot this one Corruptor now turning into Broodlords, and this may have been a mistake to reveal to his opponent that he does have Greater Spire Tech. We now see 6 Vikings being trained at a time from Byung, and Byung, off of 3 reactored starports, is going to shut down all of those Broodlords in just a matter of seconds. That is going to be a very easy trade for Byung, and then Byung can also land those Vikings if he needs to. Ultralisk, though, still on the ground. They will be able to eat through those Vikings if the Vikings are forced to go into that ground position, as now we see almost all of the mineral patches, except for the center ones, and being taken. There is still this down over here. It looks like there is one burrowed Zergling. Perhaps a command center will start to be built, as we now see an engagement in the center. Vikings just absolutely destroying Broodlords here, and Banelings unable to find their target, and Revival not in a good position at all. The Vikings in a great position, finishing off so many of these Broodlords, but now after the fungal growth hit, who will be able to come out on top? It looks like Revival just trying to A-move with this army into a very, very fortified Terran position with a planetary fortress, and you never hit a Terran player in that well fortified of a location. Zerg players are better at hit and runs and being able to flank, and now the Vikings are going to be forced into a ground mode, but Byung, now sitting on a 70 supply advantage, will be able to clean up this center expansion and perhaps even more. The quick change into Vikings was really what caught Revival off guard, building those corruptors, building those corruptors and then morphing them into broodlords within the scanner sweep was the definite issue. Banelings and Marines now backing off. Byung has a lot of momentum on his side. Will he be able to take it? That is the question. However, 19 or 17 some odd Banelings, are they going to be able to find their target? Yes, they are going to roll in, find a couple Marines. Ultralisk now going to come in from behind. It will be able to perhaps clean up this attack force, but that is pretty much it, as Byung still has a lot of Vikings in the air. And oh, this might be a huge change if the fungal growths continue to take down a lot of these Vikings. That is going to be a huge problem. Viking after Viking is getting destroyed. Infested Terrans finishing the job there, and now Byung now down to 140 supply as well. Things not looking as good as I thought for him. The medevacs now all retreating. You can see 9 medevacs in the air. That's 18 supply that is currently unable to attack. And there, how much infantry is there? 27 Marines, 7 Marauders. Zerglings now looking to swarm over here on the bottom right hand side, and Revival may be able to whittle his way back into this game as SCVs are now forced to retreat again. This command center most likely will get taken down. Yes, it is going to get taken down. It was canceled in time. The Zerglings should have been going after those SCVs, as all of those Zerglings are now going to burrow, but a very, very attentive Byung able to catch that and do a follow-up scanner sweep. Ultralisk now making their way over. Infestors making their way over as well. SCVs now doing a bit of long distance mining. That is always a very strange situation for a Terran player. To have to do a long distance mine there. We can now see medevac still flying around in the backfield. And the planetary fortress about to strip mine the main mineral patch here. There are infested Terrans here, and the infested Terrans going to clean up all of these SCVs. SCVs just trying to go to work, but getting destroyed in transit. Marines now making their way over, and Revival doing a great job trading energy for units now. Let's take a look at the worker kills. 41 to 38, still very even, as the harvester count 63 drones compared to 35 SCVs. Now, the problem is that Byung has a much larger army. Byung has less workers, but a lot more supplies. So if he does try to attack and engage now, he may be able to just simply roll over the Zerg positions and then take the advantage that way, as Zerg will not be able to replenish their army nearly as quickly. Siege tanks are upgraded 3 zeros. Ultralisks are fully upgraded, as I mentioned. Broodlords, after that one instance, one try, Revival quickly realized that he cannot allow that, or he can't utilize that strategy, especially against 3 starports with reactors. Ultralisks and Infestors now making their way over once again. Mules now are in position. Ultralisks now trying to come up the ramp. There are siege tanks, and the siege tanks are there to push back those Ultralisks, but the Zerglings now catching some siege tanks in transit. One siege tank does go down. These Zerglings are going to quickly burrow, but a scanner sweep does reveal them as well. 162 versus 180. Who's going to come out on top? There is a lot of larva, but not that much of a bank for Revival. Revival perhaps could be going into a lot of Banelings, and he's doing exactly that. Heavy Banelings, 32 in production, and perhaps a Baneling suicide into this bottom right-hand base would be enough to slow down Byung's economy. Byung right now with a very, very large mineral economy with the help of so many mules. These mules strip mining away, and that is the real issue now. Will Revival be able to overcome the amount of mules that are currently here, as we now see a quick scanner sweep? Zerglings trying to make their way inside. Not much really going on anywhere. SCVs coming over, and it looks like another group of SCVs will take down the last group of Zerglings there. There are Zerglings burrowed in multiple locations. Revival does have about, I would say, 55% of the map compared to Byung's 45% of the map. No one has taken this expansion yet. A little bit of a dangerous expansion, and if Revival gets this expansion up and running, Byung is going to have a hard time. Army compositions, 8,700 versus 6,275, but the Zerg still has plenty of supply room to continue to build his army. He just needs more overlords. Nope, got the overlords now. He just needs the right combination of units to break down this Terran position here. We'll see what's going to happen. Ultralisk now trying to come back down over here. There are simply too many siege tanks in position here. There are 3 siege tanks here. A lot of siege tanks off over here as well. And Revival looking to just add up more and more units and perhaps be able to engage once again. Drones doing long distance mining. There are creep tumors here. Marines and Marauders now trying to make their way in scanner sweep. However, the Banelings are going to find their targets here. Are we going to get perhaps any... No fungal growths. The Medivacs, the Ultralists are all backing away, and the siege tanks can slowly encroach up this ramp and then start shelling at this hatchery. That is going to be the definite issue as the drones are in trouble. Down go the drones. The Ultralists are just on hold position. That is not looking good, and here we go. Here's the engagement. Here's everything going at it. Byung, 176, 158, both sides fighting. How deep is this? A nice fungal growth, a nice couple of fungal growths. And Byung is going to lose a lot of these Marines. Now down to 114 compared to 126. The Vikings in the air are not in ground mode, unable to engage. 1 Ultralisk left, and there is that last Infestor going to get taken down. 112 versus 131. A lot of Zerglings now trying to come in. The Banelings unable to really splash onto any serious Marines. Zerglings now trying to surround. An Ultralisk going to get in there as well. And now the Medivacs do a very, very hot pickup and able to escape once more with a 40 or 30 supply advantage. This game is still really, really close. Those Vikings in the air just costing supply now, not really doing any help whatsoever. Income about even between these two players. A new command center now upgrading to a planetary fortress. Byung looking to hold that location here as the Ultralists try to go up against a sea of Marauders. That is not a good engagement, and I believe Byung has done it. He has fended off, or he has stopped the attack long enough to allow his mules to really give him a strong economy boost and now take the advantage here. Baneling's going to try to come out, deal a bit of damage, but they are not going to find anything except for unclustered Marauders. And there is the GG. Byung taking Game 3 in this best of 3 series over TSL's Revival. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.